Hi, team. This is George. Hope you're having a fantastic week one. I want to go over a few things real quick. We're going to talk about discussions really quickly. I'm going to put a separate announcement up for discussions. And I want to talk about what's due Monday of this coming Monday, actually, our developmental observation. So let's go ahead and jump into it with our discussions. If you want to earn full points, there's a couple things to keep in mind. In your first post, make sure you have a source. You're citing a source somewhere within your initial discussion response. That's going to mean that your argument is supported. So whether the argument is right, wrong, or indifferent, it needs to be supported. That's the key, that we use supporting material, because there's never just one right answer. In psychology, where very rarely is it, excuse me, is anything binary, right or wrong. We have different processes and strategies that we support from research, and that's the important piece. And when you're responding to your peers, just make sure that you're adding to the conversation. Are you ending up with a question, trying to gain more knowledge from it? Are you putting in something that adds to the conversation, adds to the collective knowledge within that discussion point, things like that. So don't just recap what the person says, put something in there to advance the conversation. So those are some key ways to earn full points for our discussions. We're also going to be working a little bit on APA as we go through the process, but that's going to be a painless and hopefully fun to do that. So let's jump in and look at our developmental observation. So if you click here, that's going to take us to our developmental observation page. We have our developmental observation overview. This is a fantastic resource. I just happened to have it open over here so we can look at that in a second. And down here, we also have our questions and guide. So remember, I'm going to open in a new tab here, our guide and our observation questions, because you want to know those very well. So let's look at our assignment overview. For this week, we're just worried about part one observation. So you're going to work it all the way through Sunday if you like, and turn it in on Monday, but you're going to prepare your observation, you're going to observe, and then you're going to write a bullet point outline. And here is exactly how to do it. Your assignment requirements, well, sorry, let me back up. Okay, I was in the right spot. Just got confused on the zigging and zagging, my fault. So you're going to do completed development observation with 3 to 5 bullet points of each area of development: physical, cognitive, social, emotional, and spiritual, moral. So you're going to look at the person that you're observing. So you're going to observe a person, and you're going to write 3 to 5 bullet points for each of these areas of development. And one key term, theory and or stage for each bullet point based on the readings. So remember how I talked about discussions being supported. You also want to support what you've been finding here too. APA formatting, we'll talk about that. And specifically, our first point that we're going to discuss is formatting the references and the citations, because that seems to be an area that all of us can do better at, because the site APA formatting is very specific. Once you get it down, it'll be second nature. So we're going to work that. Many of you may already have it down pat. And complete the development observation, which here it is. If you're going to do childbirth 12 years old, right there. If you're going to do an adolescent, everything is right here. So this leads you through it. So you don't want to go off on your own. You want to follow this, and as you follow it, it's going to lead you through the path. So let's start at the first one. So if I'm doing a child, let's say I'm doing a 6-year-old, I'd look, okay, childbirth to 12. The child I'm looking at is 6. Okay. Here's my physical development: reflexes, body training, gross motor, fine motor, sleep. How are you going to look at that? Can the child crawl, walk, run, jump, skip? Fine motor asks the child to draw, engage in other fine motor activities, such as you could draw within the lines, coloring, any of that stuff. Are they able to feed themselves, eat? So you looking at feeding time, or wherever you're at, doing your observation, use what they're doing for your observation, because I don't know anybody from birth to 12 that's not constantly on the move. So you will have a way to assess fine motor, gross motor, sleep, potty training. That's if it's from 18 months, 5-year-old. So I'm doing a 6-year-old. I'm not going to worry about potty training. Reflexes under 3 months. I'm not going to worry about that either. And then question sleep is just a question that you would ask the parent. Then you would go into the cognitive piece. So how does that fit in? You walk all the way through that, and then what's it say right here? Um, 3 to 5 bullet points for each area of development: physical, cognitive, spiritual. We come back to here. So we want to, okay, so physical. We look at these, just give me one bullet point for gross motor, a bullet point for fine motor, bullet point for sleep, bullet point for height and weight. And guess what? You just have 4 under physical. So you have it. And do the same thing for cognitive. Language development. You can take any of these and use them as a bullet point. Just make sure that if you use Vygotsky's zone of proximal development scaffolding, you have it supported with something from Vygotsky, or an article discussing his zone of ZPD, zone of proximal development. There's a lot of information out there now. He originally was from Russia, so all of his research was kind of squashed. But we see it now. There's a big emergence of this, especially in our charter schools in the United States, of the ZPD, or zone of proximal development. And then for moral and spiritual, here's your bullet points right here. Just take from those and put in what you observe, any significant religious milestones, baptists, etc., things like that. If you see them, just put them right in here, and that's all that's due for Monday. Have a fantastic week.